Hello, my friends. Thanks for coming. Thank you especially to the people who listened to the original channeling. That is the last video before this one. And I think I was reading that last video because I've recently been so disturbed about how people are being brainwashed, people are being enslaved, even at this time in our history. And so I've been watching a podcast called From Cults to Consciousness about how people rebuild their lives once they escape from cults. And what about humans actually makes this possible? One of the meditations that I read in preparation for this video was with a shaman, and he was talking about indigenous cultures, about how humans operated before electronics and before society, before even currency. And what he was saying, that humans need to feel that they're in a tribe, a group, a family, a village. We are designed to live with others. But it's become so fragmented. You know, in indigenous cultures, even the very advanced ones like the Cherokee, who had language, who had medicine, you know, what the village had was shared. If they had a lot, it was shared. If they didn't have a lot, people couldn't share a lot. And of course, it took a lot of energy and work to sustain their basic survival. I mean, that was before dishwashers and grocery stores. So the shaman was pointing out that somewhere deep within us, we do have a longing to be in a tribe, in a family, in a village. And so this may be one of the factors that make it possible for a cult leader to take away the sense of self, the self-responsibility. Well, I have to share that this has actually happened to me at one point. Some people moved in. Some folks were starting a therapeutic riding center very close by. And because I've been with horses all my life, but my physicality doesn't permit me to have horses of my own. So I was really excited about this. Because basically all I wanted to go do was go smell their necks and exchange breath with a horse. It's just a magical thing to do. And so I got kind of caught up in the other people who were volunteering, the other people who were contributing. And I actually, for a while, was very happy because I felt like I'd found a tribe. And a tribe around horses, a village around horses. But then the owner, the woman who started it all, was making sarcastic or sort of nasty comments to me about myself. And at first I thought, she's joking, right? I mean, you know, I sort of was still being nice, still participating, still going to the picnics, still volunteering. But the nastiness just increased and increased and increased. And it was bewildering to me in a way. I mean, she would come into the house uninvited and criticize what I was wearing and what we were eating and the music we were playing. And then with my husband's accident, she really jumped in, and at a time when I was very vulnerable and was really taking over. And, you know, I kind of didn't know what to do about this because I felt I was living her life. I was living my life with her standards, with her opinions of me. And then she crossed a line in the sand that was very clear, and I just broke everything off. But it did take me about a year to regain my self-confidence, to regain my sense, even my sense of myself took a while. And this wasn't even an entire year that this happened. So my heart goes out to these women and sometimes men who escape from these cults and just determine that they're going to be themselves and with their self-responsibility. So I really do know what brainwashing feels like from a personal point of view. One of the other podcasts that I'm enjoying right now is the Yes Theory. And these are 4 young men in their 30s, probably a lot of language skills. So they go to very remote parts of the world to really show how human we all are. It's a very positive podcast. And they went to the blue zones, which are the places where people live to be over 100 years old. What they found in the blue zones was a huge sense of community, a huge integrated, where everybody was pretty much considered family in these small areas. And they were kind of isolated areas too. They had clean water, clean air. A lot of them grew their own food, so they had really good food. But the thing that was hysterical to me was that they made wine, they made alcohol. There was a lot of drinking going on that made these people live so long. So that was kind of a funny take on it. So, I think that community and village and family is the antidote to losing our self-responsibility. And I'd love to hear what you think about this. In some of my meditations, it talks about the enslavement of electronics, which they say is the greatest enslavement for people now, where before the enslavement was just trying to survive. We are prone to enslavement because we have such a long period of time after we're born when we can't take care of ourselves and we have to survive. So we make these survival adaptations very young before we even know who we are. And because of that, that meditation was saying that is why we're prone to following others, prone to being afraid for our survival in this density. But of course, those of us who know that we're energy that's being focused in a physical form, having experience and contributing to the expansion and completion of all that is, we don't worry so much about after we die. But none of us want to be there when it happens. Anyway, how we're vulnerable, how we lose ourselves, that's what I'd like to hear what you think about that. And until I see you again, please be well and please be blessed. And thanks for coming.